Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team Visionary Codex. The workshop will start soon. Hello, everyone. If you have ever felt nervous about speaking in front of a crowd because of your English or public speaking skills, you are not alone. Today, I am Divyan Joshi and I am going to share techniques that will help you deliver great presentations confidently, regardless of your grammar or vocabulary. Let's get started. Next slide, please. So, the first rule, the 1 minute per slide rule. The first thing you need to determine is the duration of your talk. Generally, presentations last between 10 to 15 minutes. To ensure you don't rush or run over time, follow the 1 minute per slide rule. This means for a 15-minute presentation, you should aim to have somewhere between 12 to 15 slides. You should not talk about the same topic over and over again, and you should move on to new slides after the given time limit is over. Next slide, please. So, the four pillar delivery blueprint: prepare, structure, practice, and deliver. So, drafting your script with bullets is one of the major point of preparation. When preparing your delivery script, divide a document into sections for each slide, including an opening and closing. Crucially, don't write full sentences and don't try to memorize them for word to word. If you mug a script up, you might panic and go blank if you forget a single word. Instead, only write key points in bullets so you can elaborate naturally on stage. Have your thought process going on while you're on stage. Do not just blabber about the same thing you have written in the script. Use your script as a cue. Use the PPT as a cue. Structure using professional bookends and top down logic, which I will explain later on. Practice and delivering the speech in front of yourself in the mirror or using a voice recorder is also very important. And now, the next slide, please. For the opening, don't feel pressure to start with a joke, a complex story, or thought provoking question unless you are an expert. Instead, keep it simple and professional. You can say, "Good morning, everyone. Today we are here to discuss," or "Good morning to all present. Today we are gathered to discuss a very important issue." It is not important that you have to stand out from the others. You can be simple and professional, but put a major impact on the same time. It is not necessary you have to go somewhere else or give us somewhere of a reference to start and take attention. You can start with the basics and just be fluent in it. So the next slide, please. So setting the roadmap, you have to do it. Uh, so immediately after you are immediately after you open, you do the good morning part. Just share your agenda. Explain step by step what you will cover. For example, you could say, first, I'm going to introduce this topic, then I'll share some important data. Next, we will discuss the challenges, and finally, I'm going to share the potential for the future. This concise roadmap helps your audience follow the logic. You do not have to extend it large quantities, like do not have to explain each slide to every point. You have to just give the gist of it to the people. So you have, and also being concise is very important. After your opening with good morning, which I told you to be simple and professional, directly share your agenda. Do not go about the topic or go circle around it. Just give a topic in a simple way. List your major USPs first. Next slide, please. So I'll give you the detailed top-down method, which is a delivery strategy. When explaining your slides, use a top-down method. This means you should always start with the key takeaway or the most important message from that slide first. Only after sharing the main point, you should talk about supporting the arguments, data, or analysis that led you to that conclusion. So again, what you have to do is give the major gist of it first. Do not keep on explaining the same point again and again till everyone gets it. Give the major gist of your whole presentation and then start explaining point by point. First, you have to take the attentions of the speaker and then you have to speak about it. So first, you'll have to give the major points, like for my this particular presentation, it will be pitching. Why do ideas lose? That will be the major gist point. Then now I will explain the others. So our captain Arush Singh is here in the meeting, so he'll introduce himself and continue with the rest of the workshop. Arush, over to you.
Hello guys, my name is Arush Singh. I am the team captain of Visionary Codex, and I'll continue from now on. So the delivery. Uh, so basically, why top down works is like most people do the opposite. They start with the data and analysis and only give the result at the end. This leaves the audience confused because they do not know what they are supposed to derive from the information. So when you share the key takeaway first, the audience has a clear picture and will listen more intently to your supporting details. Uh, Next slide, please. So this is the top down inverted pyramid. The most important message of the slide delivers first, the analytical context showing how you arrived at the takeaway, the raw metrics, surveys, or facts that validate the analysis. Uh, Slide uh, and yes, the solo iteration. Next slide. So the practice technique using a voice recorder. To practice, you can use a mirror to check your body language, but a great shortcut is to use the voice recorder on your phone because your script is in bullet points. Practice connecting those points together into a cohesive talk. This method reduces the chances of making grammatical mistakes or vocabulary mistakes. And remember, stand still when making important points. Maintain eye contact with different section of the audience. Avoid pacing unnecessarily. Keep your shoulders relaxed and use your hand gestures naturally. Confident body language always makes people trust your message. Eliminating filler words. Many presenters repeatedly use words such as like, actually, basically, in these filler words reduce professionalism. Instead of feeling silence, pause for a minute. A short pause sounds much more confident than an unnecessary word. Next slide. Analyzing your practice. Once you recorded yourself, listen to it and identify your mistakes. Write down if you are speaking too fast, using filler words, or making grammatical errors. By doing this process 2 or 3 times and making a conscientious effort to fix those specific mistakes, you will feel much, much more confident. Judges uh, and for example, a good presenter adapts their message based on who is listening. For example, judges often care more about innovation, problem solving, feasibility, and impact. Investors usually focus on scalability, sustainability, and whether the idea can succeed in the real world. Teachers may be more interested in learning the process and practical implementation, while a general audience wants simple explanation and relatable examples. Before every presentation, ask yourself one question: what does my audience care about most? When you understand your audience, you can emphasize the parts of your project that matter most to them. This makes your pitch more engaging, persuasive, and memorable. Next slide, please. The confidence hack, the Superman pose. Just before you go on stage, find an empty place and stand in the Superman pose. Stand with your chin slightly raised and your hands on the waist. Holding this for just 2 to 3 minutes will immediately reduce your nervousness and boost your confidence. And questions are not attacks. When a judge asks you a question, listen completely. Pause for a second when the judge completes his or her question and answer directly. Then provide supporting details to your answer. If you don't know the answer, say, that's a great question we haven't tested yet, but is something we would like to investigate further. If you have no clue what the judge is asking about, and what to do if you have forgotten your script. Everyone forgets something at some point. If you go blank, take a breath, look at your slide, explain the main idea in your own words, and continue. The audience doesn't know what you plan to say, so they won't notice. You know your script, not the audience. Always remember that. Next slide, please. Mindset: accepting your mistakes. Remember that it is okay to make mistakes on stage. Even if you stumble here or there, it is all right. Your audience is generally very forgiving as long as you are honest and focus on explaining your information clearly. The Q&A session is often where judges learn the most about your project and your understanding of it. When a question is asked, avoid rushing into an answer. Listen carefully and take a moment to think and then respond. If a judge challenges your idea, don't become defensive. Treat it as an opportunity to demonstrate your knowledge and reasoning. And most importantly, never make up an answer. If you generally don't know something, it is perfectly acceptable to say. We haven't tested that yet, and we plan to explore more in future. Next slide, please. The closing, summary, and Q&A. To close, give a quick summary of the presentation and the key points you have covered. This provides a great recap for your audience so they know exactly what they are supposed to take away. Finally, thank them for their patience and for listening before opening the session for any questions. Never end it with that's it. Instead, finish with impact. For example, if implemented at scale, the solution could help thousands of farmers save water and improve crop productivity. Thank you. A strong ending leaves a lasting impression. Next slide. Do's and don'ts. To wrap up, do use the 1 minute per slide rule. Do use the top down method and do use the Superman pose for confidence. Don't try to memorize full sentences. Don't start with confusing data and don't worry if you make a small mistake. Even strong projects can lose impact because of simple presentation mistakes. Another mistake is filling slides with paragraphs of text. The audience should be listening to you and not trying to write an essay. Many presenters also spend too much time discussing technical details and forget to explain the bigger picture. Remember, people need to understand the value of your idea before they can appreciate the technology behind it. Speaking too fast, exceeding your allotted time, and ending without a clear conclusion can also weaken an otherwise great presentation. Keep your message clear, focused, and audience friendly. The goal is not to show how much you know, the goal is to make sure the audience understands and remembers your idea. Now I'll hand over to Divyansh.
Yep, thanks for the presentation, Arush. So, before we move ahead, I want everyone to think about this for a moment. Imagine you've spent months working on a project, you've done the research, built the prototype, tested it, and solved a real problem. But when it's time to present, you only have a few minutes to explain all that work. That's where pitching becomes important. A pitch is not just about sharing information, it's about making people care about your idea. Many teams assume that if their project is not good enough, it will automatically not be recognized. That's not true. In most competitions, judges see dozens of projects in a single day. They don't have the time to discover the value of your project on their own. It's your responsibility to make that value clear. One of the most effective ways to do this is by starting with the problem. People connect with problems much faster than solutions. If your audience if your audience understands the issue you're trying to solve, they'll naturally be interested in hearing how you plan to solve it. Another important thing is structure. A pitch should have a clear flow. Start with the problem, explain your solution, talk about its impact, then conclude with why it matters. If your presentation jumps randomly between points, the audience can get confused even if the idea itself is excellent. We should also remember that communication isn't only about words. Your body language, eye contact, posture, and tone of voice all contribute to the message you're delivering. Sometimes people remember the confidence with which an idea was presented more than the exact words that were spoken. A common mistake students make is reading directly from slides. Slides are there to support you, not replace you. The audience came to listen you, not to watch you read text off a screen. Good slides should be simple, visual, and easy to understand, not full on scripts. Another challenge many people face is nervousness. Almost everyone gets nervous before presenting, and that is completely normal. The goal isn't to eliminate nervousness, it's to prepare enough that nervousness doesn't control your performance. Practice helps build familiarity, and familiarity builds confidence. Something else that's often overlooked is answering questions. The presentation doesn't end when your last slide appears. In many competitions, the Q&A round carries just as much weight as the pitch itself. Judges ask questions to understand your thinking process, your research, and how well you know your project. If you don't know an answer, it's perfectly fine to admit. it honestly and explain how you would find the answer. A thoughtful response often leaves a better impression than a rushed or incorrect one. So, at the end of the day, pitching is a skill. It's not something people are born with. Every great speaker, entrepreneur, innovator, and leader had to practice communication before becoming effective at it. The more opportunities you take to present your ideas, the better you will become at turning those ideas into something people remember and support. So, during today's session, don't just think about presentations as a competition requirement. Think of them as an opportunity to make your work, your ideas, and your efforts reach a wider audience. If anyone has any questions about the presentation, please ask.
Amish, I like the way you have made this presentation. Your presentation itself is a good example of how to make a presentation. I hope you have recorded this session. Please share the recording so that we can share it with in the main group so that students can take the benefit of your skill and how to acquire the skill.
Sure, sir.
I would like to add a few more points if Ranch.
Yes.
Yes. So, guys, as we know, the NTE challenge has like two rounds. One is the open, and then there is the closed door presentation. So, during the open showcase, your audience may include students, visitors, mentors, and judges walking around the venue. So here your goal is to make people understand your project quickly, focus on the project, the impact, and this explanation of how your solution works. Demonstration models and visual become very, very important. However, during the closed door jury presentation, the expectations changes. Judges already understand the basic idea. Now they want to know how deeply you understand the project. Be prepared to explain why you chose the problem, why existing solutions are insufficient, how your technology works, what research supports your approach, and what challenges you faced, what limitations still exist. In the showcase, people ask what does it do, but in the jury room, they ask why does it do. Teams that understand this difference usually perform much better because they adapt to their pitch, to their audience, and the purpose of the round. Yeah. Any doubts? Any questions? All right. So
Okay, so we have one more thing planned for you guys. So Arush and I are going to be showing you different presentations live. What makes the difference in the in the pitches? We are going to show it live. We are going to have two pitches. One is going to be given by Arush, and one is going to be given by me. You you just have to sit back and watch, and you'll understand which one is the bad and which one is the good pitch. So I'll start first. This is the pitch of basically a project called Life. So we'll be explaining both have the same project, and we'll just be saying the pitches on the same thing. So I'll start now. Imagine you're sitting in a room with no Wi-Fi router. Yet the light bulb above you is giving you internet speeds faster than the Wi-Fi. Sounds like a science fiction, right? But this is exactly what Li-Fi aims to do. Good morning, everyone. Today, I am presenting my project on Li-Fi, which stands for Light Fidelity. As technology advances, the number of devices connected to the internet is growing rapidly, from smartphones and laptops to smart TVs and smart homes. Almost everything depends on wireless communication. However, traditional Wi Fi uses radio waves, and the radio spectrum is becoming increasingly crowded. This is where Li Fi comes in. Li Fi is a wireless communication technology that uses visible light from LED bulbs to transmit data. The concept was introduced by Professor Harold Haas in 2011. The working principle is surprisingly simple. LED bulbs can switch on and off millions of times every second. These rapid changes represent digital data, which is received by a photodetector and converted back into information. What makes Li Fi interesting is its potential advantage. It can provide extremely high data speeds, offer better security since light cannot pass through walls, and avoid radio interference. This makes it especially useful in places like hospitals, aircraft, and research laboratories. Of course, Li Fi is not perfect. Since it relies on light, it cannot work through walls, and the signal can be interrupted if the light of the path is blocked. Because of these limitations, many experts believe that Li Fi will work alongside Wi Fi rather than completely replacing it. From a physics perspective, Li-Fi demonstrates the practical application of concepts such as electromagnetic spectrum, visible light, optics, and semiconductor devices like LEDs. In conclusion, Li-Fi shows us how something as ordinary as a light bulb can become a powerful communication tool. It is an excellent example of how physics and innovation can come together to create technologies that may shape the futures. Thank you, everyone. So now Arush will give you another pitch, and you'll see the clear difference in between.
So I'll give the same pitch on the same project, and you guys can judge whose pitch was better. Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to present my project on Li-Fi or light fidelity. Li-Fi is a wireless communication technology that uses visible light to transmit data. Unlike Wi-Fi, which uses radio waves, Li-Fi uses light bulbs to send information from one device to another. Uh, the LED bulb flicker at a very high speed, which cannot be seen by the human eye. These light signals are received by a photo detector and converted into data. Li-Fi has several advantages. It can provide faster internet speeds, better security, and less interface compared to Wi-Fi. It can also be used in places where radio waves are not suitable, such as hospital and airports. However, Li-Fi also has some limitations. It requires a light source to function and cannot transmit signals through walls or other obstacles. Uh, Uh, Li-Fi is still being developed, but it has potential to improve wireless communication in the future. It is a good example of how the principle of physics can be applied in modern technology. Thank you.
So that was both the presentations, and I want to ask one of you which one do you think was better?
You guys can unmute or either text it in the chat.
If you want to write it in the chat, you can. Which one do you think was better? If you're not comfortable unmuting. Tough crowd, I think. So that was it for our presentation. Hope you liked it. If there are
Uh,
any questions, please tell us.
Before I go, I'll just like to basically answer our own question. Uh, um, basically, I'll answer my own question. In my own pitch, you guys saw how stuck I was at specific sentences, how bad I was at taking pauses. I was using unnecessary filler words. I did not have any structured presentation pitch, and I did not pronounce some words correctly, nor did I give much more in depth information on what life I was. So, just before you present your presentation or your pitch, just make sure that you are ready and you have thoroughly read your script and have memorized the key important words that define your pitch in your mind. So any questions, if you guys have, you guys can ask. If not, I'll go on and add a few more points. So, um, so many judge questions follow the same pattern. So I'll give this specifically for the NT second round, the track B. So many judge questions follow the same pattern. They are trying to understand your reasoning process. If you can answer these six questions clearly, which are why this problem, why does it matter, what already exists, how is your different, how do you know it works, what are its limitations, what is next. You're already prepared for the most technical interviews. Before any competition, gather your team and make every member answer these questions without looking at the notes. The ownership test. Every team member should know problem research, design choices, technical details, testing results, and future improvements. One of the easiest ways judges identify weak teams is through the ownership test. If one member answers everything while other remains silent, judges may wonder whether the project was truly developed by a team or just as a single person. Every member doesn't need to know everything, but every member should understand the project well enough to explain the core idea and their contribution. Judges trust evidence more than opinions and turning weak answers into strong answers. Weak is we think it will work. Strong is our prototype has achieved 82% accuracy during testing. See how the strong answer has more detail and more evidence. Our prototype has achieved 82% accuracy during testing. The weak is it's better. The strong is it reduces response time by 40% compared to existing methods. See the difference there? Whenever possible, replace words like good, better, efficient, or innovative with numbers, experiment, comparisons, or observations. Evidence makes your pitch credible. Handling tough questions. Do not panic, listen carefully, think for 2 3 seconds in your mind and answer them directly. Admit uncertainty when necessary. Sometimes judges deliberately ask you difficult questions. They are not trying to embarrass you, they want to see how you think under pressure. A calm and logical response is often more impressive than having the perfect answer. Remember, the judges want to see how you think under pressure. They are not trying to embarrass you. The three things uh, everyone should remember. Uh, After your pitch, judges should remember your problem, your solution, and why it matters. Hours after your presentation, judges may have seen dozens of teams. They won't remember every technical specification nor every project, but they will remember a clear problem statement, a memorable solution, and a meaningful impact. If the judges recall those three important things after you leave your booth, you have done your job. So, this was everything. If you guys have any more questions regarding specifically for the track B pitch, you can ask. And so,
So a guide might be wondering, how are we going to remember this whole workshop,
if you guys
our workshop?
do not have any question, I think, uh, sir, will this be uploaded to YouTube? Uh,
Yes, yes, we will upload once the team shares it with us. We will upload it.
you guys can access the recording of this meeting if it's possible. So,
Yeah, so at last, you might be wondering, how are we going to remember this whole 1 hour workshop during the time of our presentations? So I have just 10 quick points you have to remember that will win you any competition if you have a good idea. So, first is start with a strong hook, a question, fact, or a real life problem. Second, focus on the problem first, then explain the solution. Third, keep it simple, avoid too much technical jargon. Four, follow a clear structure, problem, solution, impact. Five, don't read from slides, use them as cues. Six, maintain eye contact with the audience and judges. Seven, speak slowly and clearly. Rushing makes you harder to understand. 8. Use confidence body language. Stand straight and avoid fidgeting. 9. Practice beforehand. Confidence comes from preparation. And 10th, finally, end with a memorable conclusion. Leave the audience with your main message. So, our main message would be a great idea without a poor pitch. A great idea with a poor pitch can lose. A good idea with a great pitch can win. Thank you.
at last, we want to hand over this meeting to Mr. Sarish Gandhi. Sir, you may conclude.
Wait, guys, I'm in the airport. Please go ahead. Let me find some time. I'm coming back to Goa.
Okay, okay, sir. So the session has ended, guys. If you have any doubts, you can ask right now, or uh, you can type it in the chat if you're not comfortable in unmuting. So
After
okay,
the session, if anyone has any doubts, they can also directly
yeah,
message us.
yes, you
We will
can
reply.
reach out to us. We can leave our what about our mobile numbers.
Okay, fantastic. In fact, these you teams have done a very nice job. It's very well done. I was wondering why didn't you do it earlier? Anyways, so please share this recording. Let me share it with the entire team with a good comment that they should watch this as a good pointer how to impress judges. In fact, you've covered almost all the points that are required. I'm very happy that we have done this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If nobody has any doubts, you may leave.